You are listening to the Techie Leadership Show with Bogdan and Andrei.
Hello and welcome to the Techie Leadership Show. Today with me I have Tyler Wagner. He is the founder of Authors Unite, where he takes people through a 3-month program in helping them write and market their first best-selling book. He has helped people create passive income, become leaders in their fields, start businesses from their books, and much more. He is also the best-selling author of Conference Crushing. Love the title, really good. A book designed to help business people and entrepreneurs maximize their return on investment at networking events, conventions, and conferences. Hi, Tyler, and welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, man.
It's my pleasure. Do you want to add anything about yourself?
You nailed it, man. Did you find that on Amazon? I think that's the intro on Amazon, right?
Maybe. I will not reveal my sources.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, that was good.
No, I find like what you're doing is really interesting. I'm really curious. Do you also work with people that are like in tech to help them write technical books or anything like that?
So we've worked with almost 1,000 people in the past 8 years, and I'm sure some of them are definitely in tech. It's just it's not. I'm not sure, but I know definitely some are in tech for sure.
Great. And of course, you have to help. Writing a book requires a lot of leadership and helping people express it and getting out of them the book, because everybody has a book in them. It's just sometimes it's really hard to get it out.
Yeah, writing's really hard, man. That like when I was 20, I dropped out of school and then I wrote my first book. That's the Conference Crushing book. And to me, marketing is like, it just comes natural to me. Like I understand marketing, but writing was very difficult. I think it's because I'm a people person. Like I love doing interviews like this. Like this is fun. But if you lock me in a room all by myself and tell me to write, then I'm like kind of lonely. You know what I mean? It's not the funnest thing in the world.
Well, it's good news for me that you like to express yourself and you're really vocal.
Yeah,
it will make for a great show.
yes, sure.
So with that, Tyler, I'm really curious, what is the biggest leadership success story you've witnessed personally?
Biggest leadership success story?
Yes.
I could speak to a client. Man, there's so many. Okay, so here's one. There's one of my previous clients that we launched his book last summer. He wrote a book called The Bezos Letters, and Steve Anderson. And basically, I just think it's really cool what he did, and the whole kind of trajectory of where it's going is he basically spent many years looking at Amazon and figuring out how they were able to scale to the level that Amazon has scaled, which is basically, they kind of run the world in a sense. So,
yes,
kind of. So he broke it down to 14 principles. We launched his book, got him to USA Today and Wall Street Journal bestseller. And then what happened is they sold foreign rights. So the book's like translated into like 25 languages all over the world. And then it got on like billboards in Tokyo. So it like really moved fast, like after we did the launch. And then now what he does is he goes into corporations and teaches them these principles to help corporations scale, obviously in the hope of scaling to Amazon's level. Probably most will not reach Amazon's level because that's like crazy. But using the same principles to scale a business. And I just think that took a lot of leadership to actually like step back and analyze like the number one company in the world and figure out what those principles are that they use to get to that level. So
and do you know how successful are the application of the principles inside businesses, or what kind of results is he getting?
That's a good question. So I will tell you this is, so again, the book's called The Bezos Letters, and they had a bunch of stuff lined up. And then because of the pandemic, I think a lot of things had to get like canceled. Like they had a lot of events booked, but now, I don't know what it's like over in Romania, but in the US, you can't really do that big of live events anymore. um,
Yes.
at least for a while. So I can't speak to that, but I'll keep you updated though. I'm happy to do that.
No, I'm asking because I'm really curious, because it's important as a leader to be able to step back and analyze, take like the whole picture in,
Yeah.
and then draw, infer like lessons from it and apply them in other situations, or also see how to improve the current situation. So that's a really important skill, and I was really interested, like, how well did it work in that situation?
Oh yeah. So well, I can tell you this. I mean, the book is beautifully put together. Like the analyzing of how it works, that is perfect. I've just never like personally been like coached by him, so I don't know like how it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never like
Yes.
sat in on one of his clients, but if I had, I would totally share with you.
Okay. Um, and Tyler, moving on, like, what would be the biggest leadership failure you had the unfortunate experience of witnessing?
Biggest leadership failure.
Yes.
Um, these are good questions. All right, let me think. So I think this is probably one of the biggest ones, and it's a general one because I can't necessarily think of a specific, but
Okay.
it's kind of the entrepreneur's dilemma, right? So I think people get into entrepreneurship and they start out as solopreneurs, and that's
Yes.
good. A lot of times people want freedom. Like that's why I dropped out of school to figure it out, because I didn't want to work for anybody. So I drop out of school, start my own company, and then what starts to happen is people get in their own way of scaling, because you actually, all the control that you have as a solopreneur to actually grow a business and have like, virtual assistants, have
Yes.
employees, free, and like actually build a bigger business, you have to let go of that control and allow others to do things. And look, your employees are going to mess up. Like, I mean, think about it. You mess up all the time. So
Yes.
they're going to mess up, and they're probably not going to be all in as you are. Like, in my business, I'm like a 2000% all in, but my employees are probably, maybe they're like 80%, at least I could hope maybe they're at 80%. That would be awesome. So, it's like, is it better to have 2,000% or like 1,080%? So it's like letting go
Yes.
of control and allowing people in your organization to take risk and mess up. And then, there'll be some bumpy roads. It's not easy, but it will then be able to scale. And I think that's probably the biggest thing I see, is that people are afraid to let go of control and become a true leader.
And Tyler, how was it for you, like going from being a solopreneur to
Yeah.
having employees and getting over your own control?
Yeah. I'll dive into my story a little bit. So, when I dropped out, I wrote my book, and then I started Authors Unite. Oddly enough, people watching this is our old logo. So this is like a shirt. This is an OG shirt, like 6 years ago. But it's still cool. And things were going, I was doing low six figures, and I was like 20, 21, 22, 23 years old, like pretty young. And for me, I was making enough money that like I didn't see any reason, honestly, at that point in my life to scale, because I was so comfortable. I got comfortable very quick.
Yes.
And look, if you have a family, I don't think that's comfortable. But when you're a single guy and you're 20, a couple $100,000 is plenty of money. In fact, anymore, and it can get a little dangerous. So either way, but then, what happened, I think one of our basic needs, like Tony Robbins talks about this, is growth. So, I went a couple years and stayed, around the similar revenue each year, and kind of like just similar things. And then probably like halfway through the fourth year of business, I just was like, I want to grow. Like, I started thinking in the future, like I want to have a family. I want to have kids. I want to work with people. I don't always want to be like the digital nomad by myself with a laptop,
Yes.
So, either way, then I, started to bring on virtual assistants. I had read the 4-Hour Work Week. I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Yes.
And, with virtual assistants and freelancers, now it's probably like 40 to 50 people that like they're not on like salary, but I have like a full team that like if somebody comes in, they need their book edited, I have a full team of editors that are, you know, on standby. Same with book designers, same with PR, like helping people get media and anything related with a book publishing and book marketing company.
Yes.
And all I do now is like, you know, interviews like this, and then I do like business development. So I do like partnership calls to see if we can refer clients to each other. And ultimately this is what happens is like, I am now always in my zone of genius, and I've hired people to work in their zone of genius. Whereas in the beginning, I was trying to do everything. You know, like I was maybe going to try to like edit a book. Don't ever hire me to edit a book. I cannot edit books. My editors are amazing, but not me personally. So like, you know, it's like, again, going back to that, letting go of the control. And that's how you can actually scale a business. And look, it wasn't smooth. Like it was bumpy, you know, and you got to train people, and some people don't work out. Some people, you know, they let you down, I suppose. And a big thing I've learned is that just because somebody's like good at one thing doesn't mean they're good at another. And what I mean by that is I have a lot of people on my team that are great at what they do, like designers, editors, but I've come to realize that like customer service is not like, they're not the best at that. So what you want to have is kind of like a mediator, where you have like say you have a project, you have a book editor, and then you have the client. You want the mediator to be communicating in between the two, and that's a customer service person. And you know, those are the bumps that you run into. You know, like when one of your employees like says something kind of like snooty, if you know the word, like kind of like snooty, and you're like, what the heck are you doing? But to some people, it's not natural. So either way, you learn as you grow.
And have you find like it's best to basically strengthen the strengths that an employee has and hire for their weaknesses? Does that work better?
Yes, 100%. I don't believe in the adage of like school. I'm pretty against school. I mean, I dropped out. So, because really, I think what school tries to do is tries to show you all your weaknesses, and then makes you like spend most of your time on trying to make your weaknesses like mediocre so you can pass a class. When in reality, dude, if you had me trying to do accounting, I would be so broke and miserable. It would be horrible, you know, like, but if you have me just talk to people all day long and do like sales and business development, you know, that's a whole different ball game. So it's the thing like Dr. Seuss. What does he say? You don't teach a fish to climb trees. You know, something like that.
Yes. No, and that's something that I always thought about, especially like schools. They don't show you what you did right. They only show you what you did wrong.
Yeah.
Which is like the wrong mindset. Like, tell me what I'm good at, so I know about it.
In that direction. Yeah, you know? I think it's, you know, to go a little deeper on that, I think it's so weird because these are all adults, right? So these are all teachers, and they're looking at you as kids. Now, look, they have a lot of students, so it's not like they have time to like look at each one a long time.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's pretty obvious at a young age, like what type of person you are. Like just the comments, like extroverted or introverted. Like I was always the most talkative person in my class. So, so then just knowing that, do you think I would be good at anything that is like any type of work that is isolating, that I'm like by myself all day, like accounting or like you know, like to me, it's like obviously not. And no lie, dude, when I went to college, my major was accounting.
No way. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, because I was so bad at like understanding money and stuff that's where like my guidance counselor in high school basically pushed me to do and major in a business school in accounting. So it's like, I would have done better, like trying to become like a famous actor or something, I mean, anything else, like just like not that. So I don't know. I think it's
So it
pretty.
was basically, this is your major weakness. Go and improve on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, I'll be miserable the rest of my life. Like that sounds
Yeah.
good.
It would be like Superman going like, kryptonite is my biggest weakness. I'm going to stay near
Yeah.
it so I improve my resilience to it.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, that's not a life. That sucks.
Exactly. And I truly believe that you can achieve whatever you propose for yourself in life. And there are so many ways. So it doesn't matter what your psychological pattern is, because there are resources to help you get where you want to be. But
Yeah,
it makes like a different journey if you don't struggle against your natural patterns of being. It's so
yeah,
much easier and pleasant.
100%. Yeah, and that's I think school teaches you to go against your natural way of being. And like I mean, that's good if you're like an evil person or something, then sure, like maybe you should change that. But for the most part, kids, we all have our different things, like our natural things. And actually, not to go down a rabbit hole, I'm really into philosophy and psychology. So it's like,
Great.
is it like what you desire? Is it something that like you created, or is it like a natural thing that's like wired in you? Like why do some people like to jump out of planes, like skydive, and
Yeah.
other people would never do it? Like, is that a learned behavior or is it natural? And that's, I think when you're young, you should have like teachers or mentors around you to like monitor you and see like what type of person is this? Like, is he really funny or is he really quiet? Like, what's he like? And then that can help choose career paths based on who you are as a person. So
Yeah. And I also feel like what would be really great is actually to offer children and opportunities to try stuff out and see if they like it or not.
100%.
It's really sad. It's really sad. I know people that chose to go into law because it's so prestigious or anything, and then they hate it. They become doctors and they don't like it. Look, if you're a doctor, you should really like it, because
Yeah.
people's lives depend on it. It's not like, and even in law, it's also people's lives depend on it. If you find it's you don't like it, that's why it would be like some programs where you can experience, like just for a short part what it means to do the work. Probably it would be better for everybody.
Yeah, no, 100%. And also, like, it's, regard, like, look, the patients of a doctor are the most, like, that's very, very important, no doubt. But
Yes.
when you're a doctor, I mean, I don't know, but I think, don't they work like 12-hour shifts? Or, like, they work a lot. Like,
Yes.
so it's like, just about you. I think you want to like so you sleep 8 hours a day. You're at work 12 hours a day. You only got 4 hours
4
left.
hours. And you do
But it's
commuting
like, what?
and listening to podcasts in that time.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I think you should like enjoy or at least find meaning in all of the hours in the day. Obviously, when you're sleeping, that's different, and all, that's a little. I don't know. I don't know how all that works, but for the 16 hours that you're awake, you might as well enjoy them. Like, or at
Yes.
least try to.
And Tyler, I'm curious, how is it for you? What's the experience of managing 40 people remote? Basically, they're all scattered.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I use a tool called Basecamp. Well, I use a couple tools,
Okay.
not just one tool. I use Basecamp and I use Slack. I'm sure you're familiar with at least
Yes,
Slack.
I know them.
Oh, you know both? Okay. So,
Yeah.
like, I can tell you this. For internal, Slack is like essential. So, we have Slack and I can respond really quickly internally. And then for like client and like project management, I do not know how you could scale without something like Basecamp. Like Basecamp changed my entire life. Like
Oh.
for real, like I was like, even when I started to scale and I started to work on my own stuff, I still was having to like monitor, all of the conversations. And
Yes.
my inbox just started getting flooded. Like it started getting so crazy that I couldn't organize. I didn't know where I was at on projects, like milestones. Because
Yes.
with writing, and there's so many steps, like writing, editing, designing, formatting, distributing, marketing. Like there's so many. So like I would just get an email from like a client and they'd be like, "Hey, haven't heard from you in 2 weeks." Like, and I'd be like, "Oh God, I didn't know." Like I'm lost. So, and then I found Basecamp, and the way Basecamp works, there's so many layers to it, but the way that you can structure things, it's very organized, and you can, I don't know, like I'd probably check it maybe 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and then I can monitor like, okay, everything's good, and I have customer service people that are obviously handling it all. But without that structure, I don't see how you could manage more than like 20, like even 10 clients is, I don't know. Depends what type of
Yeah.
client, but you know what I mean?
But this way you don't have to talk to them and get status reports directly from the people. You can just oversee everything that is going okay.
Yeah, right. Like for instance, one thing is like a message board. So you can have multiple message boards, and then you can like put subject lines. So it'd be like book cover. And then I create a message board, and then it'll be my designer, the client, and the customer service person. And I'm like, "Hey, client, meet your book designer and your customer service rep. In this board, you will discuss like book cover designs, and then by the end, you'll be able to finalize. And, please don't talk about like marketing or anything in this board. Just keep it all. And then all I got to do is go to the boards, and I can see where we're at on each part,
And it seems to me that you basically you added like more faith and trust in your people to do their jobs, and
Yeah.
it actually turned out great. Can you
Yeah.
confirm that?
Oh, it is. Yeah. And look, I plan on scaling, I don't know, as big as possible, right? I mean, the goal to me, I don't feel like there's ever really an end. Like retiring is not appealing to me. I don't, dude, if I had like, if I had 16 hours of free time a day, I would probably get in trouble. So, you know what I mean? Like so I like to be busy, and yeah, the more you can let go and trust with proper systems, you need proper systems,
Yes.
then things can go bigger than your wildest dreams. Like there's really no end, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's the only way to grow. It's the more you trust and you let other people do their jobs, the
Yeah.
more you get to grow the company. You cannot do it. You cannot do everything yourself. It would be like crazy.
Yeah, no,
And we,
definitely. And one other thing just that I found helpful is like if you do ever see one of your employees or virtual assistants or freelancers, whatever they are, if you ever see them do something that you don't like, just immediately bring it up to them, because you don't want resentment and stuff building up. And I think that's what happens a lot too is like, well, they're not the best leaders, but leaders will let things go. And the way that I work is I'm like, I don't actually let anything go. I don't like, I'm not like bad, I don't
okay,
do that. But if there's something I didn't like, I would just immediately address it and just be like, hey, I know, this was a mistake, but just our culture of Authors Unite, our company, is like we deliver the best customer experience ever. And so anything below unbelievable customer experience, I just nip it in the butt immediately. I'm like, nope, the way you said that wasn't good. Like, never, don't say it like that, And I think you got to be like that, and then they kind of know that you're still like very in it, like you're still very involved in making sure that things are running the best they can.
but as long as they get the feedback and they stop doing that, it's not like it has any repercussions. It's like a growing experience for them. That's how we
Yeah,
try to make
absolutely.
it.
And I promote risk, you know what I mean? Like I want,
Okay.
especially like I have a few salespeople now, and what they do is they work on business development as well. So they basically try to find other companies that have clients that we could like refer to each other, and it's going really well. And like I'm just, I don't like listen to their phone calls. I know some people do that, like record, and then I don't do that. But I just think like if I get one person that comes to me and says, "Hey, a representative from your company said this and it's really bad," then I'll just talk to them. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to tell, like, I don't provide like the exact, like you have to say these exact things. Like, no, have a conversation, build a relationship. Like this is about two things, in my opinion. You're helping grow the company and you're earning money because of it as a salesperson. And secondly, for your own benefit, you're actually building relationships with all these business owners. So like, I don't like after, let's say they don't want to work with Authors Unite anymore. I'm totally cool with them. If they already have the relationships with them, I'm not going to like make them not like ever talk to them again.
Forget about them. Yes.
Yeah. Like relationships are everything. That's how I built the whole company. So, I don't know. I just say, go build a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, go have fun. Like, it doesn't have to be so like strict.
So I guess you're also building relationship with your people that you have in the company.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we talk almost every day. On the weekends, I try to take one day where I don't like respond or anything. It's a good reset. But 6 days a week, Slack and Basecamp are moving.
But it's interesting that, do you find it harder to build relationships using like virtual tools and do it virtually, or would it be more easier to do it in person? Or it's not that much loss?
So that's a good question. I would say we're definitely more in a virtual world than we've ever been, like 100%. And I think that there's two answers to that. One is, without a doubt, if you have an office and all of your people are there, there's an energetic thing that I think happens that is better than virtual. But at the same token, like for me, I need an office like this. What you see behind me, this is like a really nice office that I rent. And I need that separation from home and office.
Yes.
So, and I have, all my VAs and we're talking, sometimes we're Zooming like video. So I don't know. Hopefully that answers, like, I think in person, there's a different energy and accountability, but I do think it's like, I don't know. You don't need it. You know what I mean? Like you could definitely have hundreds of virtual employees. Like think about what we're using right now, like Zoom. I'm sure they have offices, but I'm sure a lot of their employees are virtual if I had to guess. And I think they went public. They're a public company now.
I don't know. Probably they are.
Yeah, they're big. So,
wish they gave me some shares.
I know. Look, we're using it. Give us some shares.
Exactly. And Tyler, what is your leadership philosophy?
That's a good question. My leadership philosophy. So our mission statement at Authors Unite is, we believe by helping authors succeed, we help the world succeed. And that's because I view authors as like leaders. So if we can help authors succeed, then all of the readers of the author's books will also have the potential of succeeding. So having said that, my leadership philosophy is that even though I'm not good at editing, if I had to do it, I would do anything that my people in my company do. And I show them that.
Okay.
So what I mean is, like, I feel like, when you start to grow, you don't want to let it get to your head. It's how Gary Vaynerchuk talks about clouds and dirt. So I guess my philosophy, and it's not like a beautiful sentence, but the philosophy is like, you need to stay in the dirt. Like you need to stay with your people and don't ever make it seem that like what you're doing is more important than what they're doing. And I had a conversation with a woman yesterday on my podcast to kind of tie this all together.
Okay.
And her father was the founder of Sheraton Hotels. So like very big company.
Yes.
And we were laughing and we were like, the person who cleans the bathroom is literally just as important as like the founder of the company. And here's why, is
Yes.
because if the bathrooms are like terrible, then the whole place is going to stink. And
Yes.
yeah, and it's kind of like a funny epiphany, I guess the word is, because it's true. Like every position in your company is equally as important, even if one is making way more than the other. If you remove one, then the whole thing can fall apart. So I think treating everybody as equal, because they are, and building more of like a culture where we're all going after the same goal, and it's not just like you're clocking in and clocking out. So hopefully that answers it. I haven't like thought about an articulated sentence, but I think I got the answer in there.
You got it, you got it. And I like your idea about treating them, everybody equally. And in that, it's really important for you to know how to do it. You don't have to do it stellar, but you need to have an idea what it implies doing that work. So one, you can help that person grow and be way better than you could ever be in that position. And two, you can actually also evaluate them and give them pointers to help them grow, because if you have no idea, it's like having a person that never played basketball coach a basketball team.
Yeah,
It's the
100%.
same result. You need to
Yeah.
know something about the game itself and how it works and what is implied, and then you have better results, probably.
Yeah.
And for aspiring leaders, Tyler, what would be your top 3 leadership tips?
Top 3 leadership tips. Wow. I think in my last answer I said them. Okay. So
You
top
can borrow
3.
from it. You can borrow from it. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. So well, first one I'd say, like, get in the dirt, like, like work and like show your employees that you're still working. Like you're not just driving around in fancy cars, and like you're working, so
Yes.
lead by example is what that is. So lead by example. 2 is, create a culture that is like a unit, and that's why you need a mission statement, which is, ours is, we believe by helping authors succeed, we help the world succeed. So that's like, or really that's more like a vision statement, but you need that, because then all of the employees know, like, no matter what, every action you take should be moving towards that goal. So you can have rules, regulations,
Yes.
all this, but no matter what, if you ever feel like what you're doing is out of alignment with that vision state, then you shouldn't do it. So I'd say that's second. You need a unifying, like, ethos, I think the word is, like a unifying.
Yes.
Third would be, I think life's short, so I would say what's coming up for me is like me and all my like virtual team, like we have fun while we do what we do. Like we enjoy it.
Have fun.
So, it's one thing, it's, you want to be strict in a sense of like, this customer experience is number one. So no matter what, so you got to be strict in those ways, but in other ways, like allow people to have fun. Like if my book designer wants to create a couple funny covers to run by, like, go for it. Like that would be fun.
Yes.
Like, so, have fun with the people. Yeah.
That's great. And you said like have a vision statement. How do you make, like in your company, for example, how do you make sure that everybody embraces the vision statement and you inspire them to lean in that direction?
Yeah, well, so I've heard of pretty extreme ways of doing it. We don't do it in an extreme way, but all the people that
Really
work
good.
with do know. But I know, like, some people would say, and I don't think this is bad actually, but like every morning you basically have a full like call with your whole team, and you go over that statement first thing. So it like pretty much gets embedded in their like every day you do. So I think as you get bigger, maybe that's more necessary. I'm not sure, but for now, all I know is like every time somebody starts working for us, I let them know that's what it is. They go through all of our materials. The name is literally Authors Unite, like a very like powerful
Yes.
name. So Look, man, if you're working for something that's Authors Unite, then and you're like not a team player, then that would be ironic.
Yes, would be. And it will be, in a sense, the fault of the hiring process. So it will be get back in your lap.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. I guess the fourth tip for leaders is like, no matter what, it's all your fault, and that's what I believe. And because you have to take that responsibility. So if one of your employees says something bad, you know what I mean? Like technically but that something didn't connect. So if you can take the blame for everything, then that actually gives you the power to fix everything. And so
I like that. I like it a lot. And
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. If you take the blame, you can fix it, and it speeds up everything.
Yep. 100%.
Because you're not playing the game of who's guilty here. You're already focusing on, okay, I'm guilty. What's the solution? How can we move forward with this?
100%. All solution based. And look, when you're running a company, that's what it is. And Gary Vee is one of my biggest mentors that I've learned a lot from. And he says, he's like, I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm a firefighter. That's what he says. And what he means is like, dude, no matter what, when your company's starting to get bigger, like you're putting out fires every day. You know what I mean? Because there's always problems. And actually problems are good because that allows you to provide solutions and earn an income, So without any problems, we would all, I think, be broke because there'd be nothing to solve, and then you'd get paid. You know what I mean? So problems.
And the next question is one that I love a lot, and especially in these situations, I like it even more. So, what is the book that had the most profound impact on you?
Oh, 4-Hour Work Week. That's really the one. And I'll tell you why, because when I read that book, that's when I decided to drop out of school. So that book, I knew I wasn't going down the right path in school. Like I knew I didn't want to work, but I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. So then once I read the 4-Hour Work Week, it equipped my mind and made me realize that I could do it. It gave me the confidence. And then I dropped out and then figured it out. And he talks about virtual assistants a lot in there. So then even then, once I came back to the book a few years later, it helped me again to actually envision making the company bigger than just me. So I'd say that's really I've read a lot of books, a lot of them, but that book is the core one that really made me take action and become who I am today, I'd say.
But I guess you don't have a 4-hour work week now.
No, well, I think that's I've actually read about it. The title is it's a little gimmicky of a title. But I don't think Tim Ferriss himself only works 4 hours. Because again, in my mind, in all honesty, 4 hours in a week, I could get there. I could, but I don't know what I would do. You know what I mean?
With your time.
Yeah. I like to travel. I like to read, but at the same time, I like to get my hands dirty. So I don't know. I don't know if a 4-hour work week is actually what it's one of those things. Be careful what you wish for.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you don't think you would enjoy it if it got there? Too much free time.
I would. I just think I do enjoy working. So it's the choice, in my head, just off this conversation would be okay, do I keep things and I could maintain things the way they are, live a very good life, and work only 4 hours a week and travel, and that would be great. Or I can continue on this growth trajectory and keep putting in 8 to 12 hours a day, right? And then I don't know, I just feel more fulfilled and then you can still travel and everything, still have but without a driving force behind you, I feel, for myself personally, I feel I would veer off path. I would get lost in that, I think. So I don't know, at least for now.
And after like what you told me, I think like if you can work like 8 hours, 10 hours a day, how much you choose. But if you love your work and you're passionate about it, and actually in a whole week you have to do stuff that you don't really like for only 4 hours, you're actually leaving the 4 hour work week. If the
Yeah,
rest is just like passion and hobby.
there he is. That's a life spot. That's good. You're right. 100%.
Yeah.
Like this is not work to me. Like I would do this, I just like doing this. So
Exactly. And Tyler, if people want to find out more about you, where should they go?
website's authorsunite.com, and we have a little message pop up. So if you have any questions, just fill that out, and then I'm happy to help any way I can.
That's great. And I'm going to put a link in the show notes towards the website.
Awesome.
It's been great having you on the show, Tyler. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
That was today's episode. Tune in daily. Rate, like, subscribe, and share, please. Oh, you can find further info and materials in the show notes on techyleadership.com, including links to the guest book recommendations.